There are three major choke points that keep horse businesses from being able to build sustainably and profitably. And today I'm going to take you through exactly what those three choke points are, why they cause so many issues, and what you actually need to do to fix them in your business. We're going to move really quickly here, but first, before we jump right into it, guys, my name is Colton Woods. This is Horse Business Builders. If you're listening on the podcast, watching on YouTube, or you've already made the smart decision and you've downloaded the Horse Business Builders app and you joined us for free, where you've gotten access to all of our free trainings, ones just like this and many, many more. We're super excited to have you here because our whole focus is to give you the tools, the strategies, and the support that you need to build, grow, and scale your horse business, so that way you have the financial freedom and the time freedom to serve your horses, your clients, your students, your family, your community, and all of those that you're trusted to serve at the highest level. And it's really hard to do that when we have choke points in our business. And this is something that we have built 6- and 7-figure horse businesses ourselves, and as well as helped many of you of all different types of horse businesses do the exact same. And when we have been helping and building these real businesses, because we don't teach in fluff, we don't teach in theory, everything we teach you is based in real results in the horse industry. As we've helped build, grow, and scale many horse businesses, we've noticed there's three primary areas that keep horse businesses from being able to actually move forward and get the results that we want, which is we need sustainability, right? If we're not running a sustainable business, we can't continue to serve people. And if we're not profitable, that's not sustainable either. It's a business. It has to operate like a business. And so with that being said, when we look at what these three checkpoints are, because I really want to get into what you need to do to fix these things, but it's really hard. Sometimes we're so busy in our business, working hard, that we're trying to do everything we know to do to actually get the business moving forward, that we're not putting our focus, our effort, and our energy in the right areas, right? And so some people put it in the right areas, but then they just move on to the next thing. And then that creates so many issues. And so when we're looking at the three choke points, you can look at this as starting a business, but this is the cycle of business, okay? This is how businesses run. So whether you're just getting started, you're established, one of the primary things that we have to do in our business is, number one, is we have to, I'm going to draw this kind of like a cycle because it is a cycle. Number one is we have to get demand. Okay, get demand. And then as we build demand, how would we do that, right? Well, we have to build awareness. People have to know that we exist. And as we build demand, then what do we need to do? Well, we need to actually get clients, right? So once we build demand, we have to get clients. And that means that we have to get people that actually commit. We'll go to number 3. And so we go from getting demand to getting clients. We have to get people to say yes, to commit to working with us, to buy our product, to buy our service. And then we have to get to work, right? The 3 gets here. Get to work. And as horse professionals, we're no stranger to hard work, okay? But here's the issue with this cycle, is that when we need clients, what do we have to do? We have to build demand. So we put all this time, all this effort, all this energy into building demand, right? We're posting on social media. We're going to events. We're doing all these things. We're trying to do the marketing right behind our business. And we get some demand. And then that means that we have to then talk to all these potential clients. We have to answer 27,000 Facebook messages, spend time on the phone, and we have to listen to the story about how Sally has this horse that her grandfather had its great-grandmother, and the whole family lineage of how these horses have been passed along. And we have to spend all this time listening to these stories, all to find out that many of these people won't ever pay us and had no intentions of paying us, but rather they wanted to tell us their life story about their horse because they were interested, right? Or they're asking all the wrong questions because they're like, hey, what's your price and availability? And they're price shopping. They're not actually looking for the quality results that you provide. They're just trying to find the next slick deal that they can save some money on, and they might think about it, but they're not really serious, right? And so we spend all this time trying to talk to these people and trying to get clients. And then we secure a few clients. And we're like, okay, now we can get to work, right? But once we spend all this time getting clients and now we get to work, we're so focused on training the horses, getting the horses shod, doing the body work, right? Doing the therapy services, whatever it is, that we get so focused on doing the work that we stop the demand. We stop posting on social media. We stop the marketing. We stop doing the second step of actually getting clients to commit. And we just get to work. And then all of a sudden, that work starts to disappear. The horses get better. The horses get taken care of. People move, whatever the case. Those clients start to drift away. And then we're like, oh man, I need more clients. So then we hop back up here and we start building demand again. And one of the things that we notice is that when horse businesses do this, there's a delayed effect in this, is that when we start to get focused on doing the work, that it takes oftentimes, once we start doing the work and we're like, oh man, I need more clients to say yes so I can get to work again. A lot of times it's a 3 to 6 month wait period to build the demand, to get the clients. And I'm talking about getting full. I'm not talking about 3 to 6 months to get one client. I'm talking about getting your books full again, right? Because it's a lot of effort. You have to reach a lot of people to get to get the number of clients that you need so that you can have the work that you need to run a profitable and a sustainable business. And this is extremely expensive in your time. It's extremely expensive financially, and it doesn't allow you to continue serving the people that you're meant to be serving because you're just playing hopscotch and you're just jumping from this one to this one. Because once you're busy talking to people on the phone and answering Facebook messages, you're not posting on social media anymore. You're just talking to all these people, trying to get a few people to say yes. And they're like, perfect, I got them to say yes. Now I'm just doing this, and then I'm just going to do this, and then I'm just going to do the second step, and I'm going to go back to the third step. And that's why these three areas are choke points in every business. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to break this down into a system for you that as we noticed these patterns in horse businesses, then we're like, okay, we have to address these systematically. And the thing is that you guys will find that I don't teach in steps when it comes to building businesses, because people that try to tell you that you have to follow this step to this step to this step to this step, it oftentimes lacks the nuance that has to be taken into consideration for your specific business. And when it's horses, right, it could be that specific rider and that specific horse, but it's your specific business and the situations around it. So you'll find that I teach in frameworks because frameworks are like principles. They're true in the best of times and the worst of times. They always work. And so over the years, we built this framework, which we refer to as the Horse Business Builders, which I'm going to write HBB framework. Okay, we keep it real fancy, but the HBB framework. So watching, that's a W, and HBB framework. Okay, and so we have the first step up here, which I'll get back to that in a little bit, but then we have these other 3 steps down here. We have number 2. Number 3, number 4, and then all of these lead into number 5. Okay, so it's a 5-step framework here. But I'm going to bring this together because we've just talked about how we go from we need to build demand to we need to get clients to and we need to get to work, right? Well, in this horse business framework, step number 2 is what we call attraction. Okay? Step number 3 is what we refer to as our closing. And step number 4 is what we call delivery. Okay? And what I'll go ahead and do, I'll go ahead and give you guys the full framework here because then I can bring this all together for you. So the decisions. The first step is decisions. Your second step is attraction. Your third step is closing. Your fourth step is delivery. And your fifth step is what we call retain and upsell. Now, I will tell you on the retain and upsell, we oftentimes use the words retain and upsell, but I also like to think about it as retain and serve, because that's ultimately what we have to do to retain clients is we have to continue serving them in a meaningful way, serving them in a way that helps them continue moving forward. And in turn, it's an upsell because they continue to pay, okay? But when we get into this, right, we talked about the first choke point is that we have to get demand. Well, how do we get demand? That's marketing, right? So we run into this choke point in our business because we're spending so much time posting on social media and we're trying to get people to be interested, to know who we are. And what ends up happening is if you're not consistent in your marketing, or if you're not marketing in the right way, you won't attract the right types of clients, which is why we always say it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. This step number 2 is your marketing step. But how do we market our business? Most people think, oh, marketing's sleazy, marketing's salesy. I don't like to market because I don't want to sound like a sellout. Listen, it's because you've been marketed to by someone that did it inauthentically and who did not do it in the right way. And when you actually do marketing appropriately, you focus on attracting the right clients to you, right? And you focus on who you can actually serve and helping those people discover you, okay? It means you have to put in effort, right? You have to be out there posting across social media, but most people get really stuck in this because they overthink it, or they try to be for everybody when if you try to be for everybody, you're gonna be for nobody, right? Which is one of the critical decisions that we have to make, which is like, who are we actually trying to serve? What problems do they have? How can we actually help them? And we focus on attracting the right people based on the problems they have, the results they want, and the values that they have and that we share as well. And so we focus on this attraction step because that can build demand, but we've got to do this sustainably, okay? I want to talk about what we do to actually do this sustainably in a minute, but it's exhausting when you're not doing this correctly and you're like, I'm doing the work, but it's not getting me the results that I want. And it's like, man, are you speaking to the right clients? Are you being consistent enough? Most people are not consistent enough on this. They're like, oh, I'm so busy doing the work that I don't have time. And that's why when you understand that if you're like, I'm just trying to get demand, to get clients, to get results, it's like, hey, listen, you have to have an attraction system. You have to have a closing system. You have to have a delivery system. And systems work for you. They work for you 24/7, 365. That's how you build a sustainable business, right? Is that you have systems in place that allow this to happen while you are doing the work and doing things and spending time with your kids and training horses or doing your services, right? Going out to dinner with your clients, whatever it is. But we have to have the attraction, right? So we can focus on attracting the right clients. And then once you are attracting these clients consistently, you have a closing process, okay? And the closing process starts the second that someone is interested in working with you. And earlier I said how you have to answer all these questions and listen to Sally's story about how her grandpappy had this horse's grandmother, right? A closing system allows people to get the information that they need without you having to play 27,000 questions. And the closing system also is able to vet them. So the closing system allows them to self-select first and foremost, to go, am I the actual right client to work with this professional? And is this professional the right client, the right professional for me and my horse? So they get to do some self-selecting, which doesn't waste your time, right? Because if you're in there and playing 27,000 questions or talking to them on the phone, you're like, this person, like they're like, they didn't agree with your philosophy on how you do things, right? They could have found that out without having to waste your time. Right? So we have that as part of the closing system. But then also, you're able to get their details without having to play 27,000 questions. So they get information about you, you get information about them. The closing system increases the perceived value of your program because of how it's set up and how it's structured. And all of this is systematized. It saves you time, right? And then even taking them we'll talk about some next steps on how to execute on this in a second, but the closing system takes them from the time that they're just expressing interest in what you have to offer all the way up until the time that they actually commit and they sign a contract, they pay a deposit, they pay in full, right? From the time that they actually commit to working with you, to getting the product or service that you offer. And once they've committed, the closing process is over, and they enter into the delivery process. And this is where we're getting the work done. But one of the most important things about the delivery process is that as horse business owners, we have to realize whether you have a boarding facility, you're a farrier, you offer therapeutic services, body work, chiro, training, whatever it is, what you do is not that different than the next guy. But how you do what you do separates you from the pack. And that's part of what has to shine in your attraction process. But it's also what separates you in the delivery process. And one of the number one things that holds professionals back is providing a top tier, and I mean an elite client experience. Okay. And this, by providing a top tier client experience, this is what creates people that love to keep working with you. And one of the number one complaints that many clients have about working with horse professionals is, man, they do really good results, but they're really tough to get in touch with. They're really tough for me to communicate with because they're so busy. And I feel bad about bothering them. And when you have a customer experience process as part of your delivery, while you're doing your work, you have a process that is very easy for you to deliver that provides your clients with a top tier customer experience. And it makes it easy and enjoyable and professional. You are able to rise to the cream of the crop in your business. But you have to have systems that allow you to do this sustainably, right? And so then, because once you do that, once you provide a top tier client experience, they want to stay working with you. They are excited to be able to continue working with you, and they are more than happy to continue paying you because of how smooth and how professional it was. But if you're just trying to do this, and then you just move to this, and you just move to this, it doesn't work. That's why when we go to make the changes that we need to, we have the decisions. Everything, in order to improve anything in our business, it starts with the decisions that we make, right? And this is about I love using horse analogies in this, but many times what we end up seeing in horse businesses is, say you have Sally who's out riding her horse, and her horse is not in a very good biomechanical position, so she hires the chiropractor. And Claire, the chiropractor, comes over and she starts working on the horse. But so the owner's paying all this money for the chiro, but she's riding the horse in improper form, right? She's just focused on trying to fix the problem at hand, but not actually getting to the root of the solution. Versus then she's like, I should actually, have my riding where it complements my horse. So then I hire this trainer that's teaching me. So then she gets a system, she gets a trainer to come in, and the trainer says, hey, this is how their horse needs to carry itself. This is how you need to be riding your horse. So now the horse is using the horse, trying to use itself in better form. So that helps that helps the fact that the chiropractor isn't having to come out as frequently, but the horse doesn't have a saddle that actually fits. It's pitching the horse behind the withers. So the trainer's like, hey, you need to actually get the proper tools and equipment, right? Your bit's a little too narrow and your saddle's too narrow as well. We need to get you in a bit that allows your horse to be comfortable. We need to get you in a saddle that allows your horse to freely move its body and to be comfortable, so that you're not creating more issues and you're not just trying to treat the symptoms with the chiropractor when in fact you don't have the right tools and you don't have the right systems and approaches to actually build this sustainably. And we all know, if we had a client or a student that was dealing with that with their horse, right? We'd say, hey, listen, you need the right tools, you need the right systems, and you need the support of the chiropractor. You need the support of the trainer. You need the right approaches, the right strategies, and the right tools to be successful with your horse if you actually want to get the result. As horse professionals, we have to treat our business the same way. We can't just be down here talking about like, oh, I'm just going to put some effort over here and fix that real quick and duct tape and baler twine it together, knowing that it's going to spring the leak as soon as we shift our focus to somewhere else in our business. But that's how so many horse professionals decide to run their business. They make the decision to run their business like this broken model down here, and it chokes the life out of them and their business, right? But when you look at this and you say, hey, if I'm going to make some changes in my business, it starts with me making better decisions to have the right systems, the right strategies, the right tools in my business, so that way I can actually build a sustainable and profitable business. But I've got to make the decision, then I've got to take action. And when I go to take action, I have to have an extraction process. I have to have a closing process. I have a delivery process, because these are the three phases that it takes to bring clients in, to build demand, to get the clients to say yes, and to actually get paid for the work that you do. And then down here, you stop the revolving door of your business and you're able to continue serving the same clients for longer, right? And then you're still able to bring more clients in sustainably, but all of this works together and it works consistently and sustainably, All right. And so what do we actually use to do this sustainably, right? Because we have the attraction process, the closing process, and the delivery process, but how do we do this sustainably? Because we can't just be working harder, right? You already have a lot of work to do and you're going to be spending your time getting the results. So what can we use? What do we do to actually do this sustainably and consistently to where you're not just hopping, but all of these are working together all the time? And this is exactly why we built Horse Business Manager, right? Horse Business Manager is the tool that we use to build, grow, and scale all horse business. We built it for my training business and my clinic business first, and then it was birthed out of many of you guys asking us, what are you using and how do we get access to it? And we created Horse Business Manager as the all-in-one horse business manager platform where everything is centralized. It has all of the systems that you need to be able to attract the clients, close the clients, and deliver the clients. And it also gives you access to the strategies and the support that you need to do it. But specifically, when you look at, hey, how am I going to attract the right clients to my business, right? Well, this is a marketing step. And so you've got, within Horse Business Manager, you've got your social media scheduler, right? You've got your social media scheduler. You've got text and email marketing for those that are doing that, which we highly recommend, but because it's one of the best ways to get back in touch with your audience, right? But using the social media scheduler means that you can schedule all of your content once, and then you can go out the rest of your month doing the work that you enjoy doing, not having to go back and worry about it. But we also, within there, if we're talking about attraction to the closing, one of the awesome features that's in there is a comment to DM feature, right? Which is a comment to a direct message feature. And what this does is that you can have your content out there. And if you're saying, hey, if you're interested in learning more about our farrier services or our boarding services, just type yes in the comments and we'll send you a message. When they type yes in the comments, it will automatically, Horse Business Manager, and it's a personalized message, will automatically message that person and say, hey, Sally, really excited to hear that you're interested in learning more about our boarding services. Here's some basic information. Let me know what other questions you might have. Or you can say, and here's the link to our website, right? And you could direct them where they need to go. You don't have to send any of that. You set it up one time. We've already built all the systems and all the automations for you. You just personalize it to you and it's able to run. But then what happens is you get the direct message, and then on the closing side, the websites and the funnels work across the board, right? But these are what you need to have in place if you really want to build a sustainable business. Is you have the website and the funnel, you have a way for people to reach out to you, you have a way for you're attracting people consistently, right? And we all know that in our business, things happen. Things happen on a day-to-day basis. So when you have things that are scheduled, they're going to run whether you sleep in or whether you have to stay out late working with horses, whatever it is. Your posts are going to go up on time. You're going to be consistently there to serve your audience and to be at the top of their mind. Then you have your website and your funnels, right? And these website and their funnels, this is your 24/7, 365 salesman, right? This is your customer service and your client experience. And this is where people go to get the information that they're looking for. But it's not just an internet brochure. This sets the tone for the type of experience that they're going to have when they work with you. And this starts to build the perceived value of what they work with. So they have their website and your funnel, right? And then another big thing that we built in there for all of our horse businesses is an application feature. The application is an extremely big part of building healthy client boundaries with your potential clients, as well as saving you a ton of time, because when they apply, you get all of their details that you need up front. So you didn't have to spend any time in Facebook Messenger over here because you had it automated. They are able to go through, get their information, self-select. They choose to apply. When you apply to things, you're like, man, if I have to apply to work with this person, they're busy, they're valuable, they have structure. It builds healthy client boundaries. And then, depending on how you set it up, you also have your calendar. And so if you decide, like, I'm interested in talking with this person further, then we have it set up to where you can invite them to schedule a time to talk to you on the phone. And you can set up like, hey, I only take phone calls from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening, or 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., right? Like whatever it is. But you set your calendar to work for you, and then they go book the time that's going to work best for them as well. And then they have to show up on time. And you're building a very professional experience right off of the gate of, hey, this person has a system, they have a process, they're very professional. That separates you from many of the other horse professionals that exist out there. And it's very fast, it's very personal, it's very, and one of the biggest things that in terms of having a process is that whether you're a farrier, a boarding facility, a trainer, whatever it is that you do, you have a process. And many times your potential clients don't get to experience the work that you do until they've experienced the way that you run your business. And people will judge the work that you do based on how you run your business before they ever see the work that you do. And so when you run your business, when you're as detail oriented and when you're as process oriented, when you have the really professional systems that allow them to easily get the answers to their questions and to be able to get access to working with you, and it's an easy to follow system that they go through, then when they get on the phone with you, they have a higher regard for your boundaries, for your professionalism. And it directly influences the way that they see the quality of the work that you do, which increases the overall perceived value. And they come from a much healthier position, right? People that disregard client boundaries and they just want to use you up and get the best deal and they just want to mow you over and they don't respect your time, they will not fit into this very well. And we don't want to work with those types of people because they're exhausting, draining, and they don't want to pay you anything. But when you have this process in place, they will go experience this process and they will associate that to the quality of the work that you do in your actual craft. And that's a very powerful thing to understand. And then once you say, yeah, like I'm interested in working with you and they want to work with you, right? Then we have contracts and invoicing, contracts/invoicing. And this is huge because for you guys that use contracts, you can send them a contract agreement, and as soon as they sign it, the system can automatically send them an invoice. And you can do one-time invoicing, recurring invoicing. You don't have to waste time chasing people up for billing. You get paid on time every time, and you're not constantly worried about when the next check's coming in because you got your contract signed, you got your liability waiver signed, you've gotten paid, and now they're in, and now you're focused on the delivery, and then you have your client experience, right? And this is the big thing here, client experience. And so on the delivery side, within the Horse Business Manager app, we're able to centralize all of your client information, their horse information, all is stored in the contacts. It's super, super organized to where you can keep up with notes, gate codes, directions, specific notes about past times you were working with that horse. And then even with those of you guys that are in services where you do client updates, we have an entire client update system in there where you're able to set them up with custom portals where if you're doing training or rehab or anything like that, and they can log in and you can put your updates in there once a week or every other week, how often you do it. And they can see photos, videos, written updates as well to where they have this top tier client experience. And when you do client updates, if you're in that type of a business, then they know when they're going to hear from you and they don't bug you the rest of the week. Right? They're like, hey, I send my updates on Saturday mornings. It's like perfect. They're gonna be able to be patient because you set that up because they went through this whole process and they understand, okay, this is when I'm gonna hear from them. And then you have a way for them to log in and it's very personal. It's branded to your business. And this gives them an elite experience. And all of this, guess what? This all is already built for you. We help you personalize this to your business. And if you decide to make the decision to actually make the changes in your business, all this works for you 24/7, 365. You don't have to rebuild this ever, right? Once it's up, you just have to use it. And you don't play hopscotch between one broken system to the next broken thing to the next broken thing. This runs for you all the time in your business. And if Horse Business Manager saves you 2 hours a week, it pays for itself. It more than pays for itself if it saves you 2 hours a week. But the fact of the matter is it saves most horse business owners 10 hours a week, and some horse business owners upwards of 20 hours a week, right? And so just alone in time savings, it pays for itself. But then many people, once you start to implement these systems into your business and you increase the process of how you run your business, you increase the perceived value to where the business is now operating at the quality of the results that you're providing in your delivery. And now you're able to charge more. You're able to attract better clients. You have higher quality clients that are committing, right? They're willing to pay more. And now, because you're utilizing this system, you're able to charge more, and then you're making more money, right? So we have built Horse Business Manager out of exactly what horse business owners need, and it's proven. It'll save you time. It will help you make more money in your horse business. And so if you're tired of running through the choke points, because these are the 3 choke points that every business runs into. One of the awesome things within Horse Business Manager, you also get access to the Horse Business Builders Academy, which is the exact pathway to build your horse business on this exact framework. We take you through all of the critical decisions and how to make those critical decisions in your business. We take you through the exact attraction process and all of the things we take you through, from making better social media content to successfully doing email marketing to developing lead magnets and all of the strategies that go into that. We take you through all of the closing processes that you need to go through to build out a very thorough closing process so that you can actually bring in the right clients, not just any client, but the right clients. And then the delivery process, as well as the retain and upsell process. We take you through that exact pathway. You get even deeper support from us because there's a private channel within the Builders Academy where you can ask those questions, and we're there to support you on a deeper level within the Builders Academy. And so, guys, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Do not let your business stay choked within these 3 steps, right? You have access to the tools, you have access to the pathways. You just have to make the decision. Are you gonna do it? And we always guarantee it, guys, with a 30-day money back guarantee. I just say that because so many people are like, oh, I'm not so sure. Listen, the proof is in. You just have to make the decision to stop duct taping and baler twining your business together and start treating it like a real business, to where your business reflects the true quality that you provide for your horses, your clients, and your students. And as soon as you're ready to make that decision and actually take action, we're right here to support you within Horse Business Manager and within the next step up in the Horse Business Builders Academy. So with that being said, y'all, look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Take care.